What's that?
Is it?
What is in that fat?
It's just a bunch of red ones.
Wait, who was it that we convinced? Oh, it's Akon.
What happened with Akon?
I'll tell you.
You ready?
Sorry, just a sec. I'm good now. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Ethics becomes an action theory because ethics and during purpose party guide action so as a principle of action represent the ethical
Clear.
elements of justified. It shows a rationally through reflection and determines worth doing. Reasons they capacity to justify and represent laws or occurs for no reason other than
Clear.
conscious ability to do so. However, humans are also sensible as they represent objects who are being affected by them. Sensibility is a limited structure that occurs in a particular instance and is unconditional like reason. This tension between sensibility and reason creates a problem of the application of reason because we're not gods that exist in an a priori plane, but either even subject for empirical desires. This tension allows for the possibility of evil, the ability to take an anti-rational maxim into your principle. Additionally, this creates skepticism to an agent's practical identity because the practical reason does not accidentally or conditionally act as a reason or does by virtue of their status. The practical reason is not something that we can observe and requires knowledge from the inside. The solution is the ethical community. While we're not pure practical reason, we have the capacity to reason, limiting our ability to use it. What we lack as agents is practical knowledge, the ability to apply reason, not to know that we have it. Since any judgment is produced from reason is universal, intersubjective, and to focus on the community. Thus, the ethical community negates particular evils in order to come consistent with the universal God. Conscious and consequence equal. We constitute ethical community, not human vicious, all overcome evil by overtaking responsibility for actual activities, the activity of overcoming evil. The idea that ethical to actualize the idea that ethical would be overcoming in a particular not the idea for reason. To reconcile the ethical will one very different reason, objective continues to self-articulate the ethical community. Thus, the standard is consistent with the ethical community. Clarify the ethics based on community views that engage in practice of self-critique negate evils. This means that any standard can be solved because they can critique themselves to revise and solve those agents. Independently prefer one binding CAC for because only non-actual basic for ethics because normative judgment insurance around the recognition of the community for the legitimacy making any normative claim requires others to recognize your claim as normative else is meaningless. Random 99. To be itself is to be recognized by the one who recognizes. It's up to me who I recognize as a good chess player. It is not up to me whether those good players recognize me as good. This gives the candidate the authority to constitute community by recognizing individuals as a member. Having number of sides is a social. The self-constituted community only result in reciprocal recognition of recognizing other identity and a community. We find common structure between reciprocal recognition, the relation between universals and particular. Second is performativity, making a claim about the structure. Should activity parts of the process determine the structure. That can way we think is good. This produces a method that can validate such a structure. The structure must be the ethical community to engage in parts of self-criticism.
Clear.
Prohibit evils which influence any critical structure without question begging our authority to make such judgment. Third, intense versus 8-point consequences are from external forces within both unpredictable and possible to assign culpability to. B-point consequences are infinitely divisible. Intention to by action resolving ether aggression. C-point the culpability question. Consequences can only treat things through state of affairs, meaning that agent can never be held responsible for an action. D-point there are infinite amount of consequences of the world, meaning there's an infinite obligation to prevent infinite aggression. E-point the problem induction, deductionizing another deduction. Since we are literally unable to predict the future, which is certain, only deduction solve maintaining intentionality. Offense. Plain text. The United States federal government ought not provide counter-terror assistance to Niger. I'll specify relevant process and agent instincts to provide frivolous chain theory debates. Now affirm, well, the provision of USA is based on a misapplication of the maximum democracy promotion community with self-defense is blended democracy with securitization in Africa has been justified the fear of terrorism imposed by the world. The community of Niger is inferior to the U.S. and constantly requiring our support is an unnecessary and unwarranted exclusion in since any proof that military is not needed. 2018. While the U.S. played an important role in organizing multinational forces over a long time now, it was Nigeria. It was Nigerian partner forces that turned the tide against Boko Haram. The U.S. military continues to speak general terms about the real-time being national obtaining violence enough the African state mission requires a major military build-up. The large foreign military from Niger led local backlash against both the government and Western countries. U.S. military engagement focused long-term instability. So uncertainty found that training alters balance and power creating increased the likelihood the security service will be has been abandoned over there since September 11. Future increase Pentagon had less administration control of the military in solving non-military problems. Second, the maximum of self-defense in Niger is misapplied because the military is politicized and serves to only embolden corruption in Niger. The division between politics and elected based on an elite decision person that justifies human rights abuses. Bail 18. Foreign forces have a negative impact on domestic politics in Niger, with foreign military presence and concurrent securitization in Niger. Society starting the government lacking in domestic support. Niger 2016 election were plagued by irregularities. The Niger military is intensely politicized with the states for oversight. Such forces become prove valuable to a president who wishes to entrench power beyond democratic means. Citizens to the streets, changing American armies go away. Usefully respond by cracking down on forges. Third, the state is only justified as a mechanism to allow different agents to recognize each other. They cannot act for a private person because only jurisdiction justification for existence is to protect the freedom of citizens, which means that when citizens recognize the authority, they use it only to secure their freedoms, and the state does not have the authority to take other action. Fourth, the state cannot recognize the continuing authoritarian regimes through military. Since authoritarian regimes do not legitimate instantiate the state, this industry does not recognize the authoritarian as legitimate, so the regimes are not instant ethical community. Freedom requires recognition that the state's will is mine, but that must be based in truth, thus the state must be representative of the citizens' will. Hegel. Political disposition based on certain truth is based on one I trust, that my interest is preserved in the interest of the state. This immediately ceases to be another community. My conscience of this, I am free. Honor you. One is one or the credentials viewpoint. One in theory, method was legitimate. Substantials aim to one and viewpoint is dropped. The video because the pledge armies have to win 2 layers in 3 minutes. Viewpoint competing interest. The turner can win multiple layers and risk of offense forming is a necessity. Check on each that's a dump. Viewpoint no revia since it's been tuned up at the makes it impossible. Second, the tuner is again you framing 8.60 chops from the tuner means that they'll win the debate easily. Viewpoint judge independent increase because late breaking viewpoint deal with the whole 1 year worth of new frame tuner. Third, 1 year theory is the top layer. Their next ability to win any layer and be back the option on the long tuner where it's possible for me to split and win in the short. This argument always since it's structural supplies more rounds the best for sending north. Fourth is that many theory comes first equal is an epistemic indictive theory. Arguments when it comes to the top layer. Viewpoint logicality, valuing theory and substance on the same layer would be valuing meta theory and theory on the same layer. Be valuing theory and substance on the same layer would be logically incoherent because the point of theory is that it comes to a jurisdiction with power to evaluating substance. Fifth, the negative may only read one psychontry to the current affair. You can read one of the extinction first, TGF, it's EM, etc. You can read multiple psychontries that frame the debate. Standard is strategy because it just means that you will split the debate and force the one year to just go through a bunch of different nibs on the framework debate, which means I have to get to that. And means I'll get to substance debate with very little time. So you can obviously just cross by make way arguments and turn for why way strategies independent voter having a clear and strategy in order to implement and use arguments. 6, use epistemic contents equal and feel advanced. Lots of data to engage the framework debate. Just read text or engage substance. Viewpoint. EM assumes a consequential kind of value because it assumes that we can, for instance, violence and get in favor of a different one. So it's a question making viewpoint. EM is internally contradictory. No theory so that one should maximize the expected cross theory values, like asking 3 doctors what medicine take out of all advice and the difference in mixed even though all 3 doctors say something mixing medicines is bad. 7, this fairness comes first. 8 points a gateway issue. You cannot value the truth or falsity of different claims made in mind because fairness comes to the top. So fairness comes to the top layers and epistemic indictive arguments. Viewpoint. If they say fairness doesn't matter, that means that you can just hack against them, give no reason why they're to do this. They're performed with conceit things like speech times, that it's a contradiction for the people to understand. 8 is that you should use a truth testing paradigm equal jurisdiction to affirm say something is to negate denied to the point, but that any paradigm that's only within your jurisdiction is just something outside the truth or falsity reality. Viewpoint is that to make any claim to concede to truth value. For example, when I say descendant violence is true, the same thing that they destroy some descendant violence, so therefore it's the only paradigm therefore every role value false. 9 is that alpha is a true is a counter statement of theory. 8 points that 13 7 times 2 from the rebuttals means that I'm time transfer times 2 viewpoint. The alpha always has to disclosure because disclosure has massive advantage to next, so all people can work the perfect strategy to be able to advantage yourself.
Ready?
Yeah.
What is an ethical community?
The ethical community is a community of reasoners that uses in a practice.
What is a reasoner?
A reasoner?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the very top of the framework. The framework defines a reasoner as somebody that is able to justify and represent actions.
Okay, how does the ethical community make decisions?
The ethical community makes decisions by like negating evils, right? Like the point of the ethical community.
What's an evil?
An evil is defined like the second paragraph of the framework, which says that there's this tension between sensibility and reason because we're not pure practical.
All right, no. What's an evil?
Yeah, I'm getting to that. Evil is the ability, as a result of sensibility, which exists, to be able to take some sort of like anti-rational maxim and make it your principle.
What's an anti-rational maxim?
Something does not follow from like a universal law of reason, right?
Okay.
It's like clearly defined.
Okay, can you give me an example of one of those maxims?
Right. So, for example, there would be like a Kantian duty to like self-defense or something like that, right? This comes into tension with the conflict of whether or not you ought to kill in the context of like self-defense, right?
No, just I want like a
Okay.
like a clear evil maxim.
Okay. In the context of the offense, I guess this might.
No, just give me an example of a evil maxim.
Yes, I'm explaining this in the context of the offense. I'll explain that, right? The argument that's made is that we have these principles that we think are Kantian, that we think are doing for a good end, and what ends up happening is we end up misapplying
So
them.
Kantian maxims are evil?
No, the point is our misapplication.
You've only
of
given
them.
Kantian examples. Is there just an example?
No,
of like,
my point that I'm trying to get at is just that we are trying to be like or achieve reason as this end. The problem that exists
okay,
is that we
so
do not know how to do
achieving reason creates an evil. Trying to achieve reason creates an evil
No,
maxim.
it is our misability, like when we misapply principles and think that we're doing it for some good.
When
That's
we
when
misapply principles. Okay, so can you give me an example of a time in which we've
Yes,
misapplied
and my point
principles?
is that would be clearly defined throughout the offense. I gave an example earlier, but it seems like you're looking for something more specific than that. Here's the
Yes.
thing, right? The US is trying to engage in things like democracy promotion, right? But the Falstein evidence indicates that what's really ended up happening is that we have this logic behind that that's based on over
Because basically it's like we can't do bad things.
That's what any ethical framework
So it's
says.
just like we can't do things that, might have bad, I'm confused.
It's
seems
not
like,
about,
it
like,
seems
the
like the
concept.
impacts are like consequent, are the
No,
offense is
it's
consequent,
not.
is
So
impact
I think what
justified.
you're conflating is that we can use material scenarios, but
How
it's
do
like not
we
the
know,
concepts
okay,
of that.
fine, how do we know that counter-terror aid is not going to counter terror?
Wait, sorry.
How do we know that counter-terror aid is fueling corruption?
We can use like empirical examples. to
Okay,
prove
so
that.
it's impact justified.
It's not
the
impact
offense-
justified. There's
The
a
offense
distinction.
is to rely on us
There's
to
a
be able to
distinction
observe
between
the
what you're
impacts
saying
of
and what I'm
counter-terror
saying.
aid.
You can use material scenarios when you're able to do things. like this pen.
So we
like
need to
this
be able to examine the consequences of an action and able to determine if
It's
the
not
maxim
based
was in
on
fact.
consequences. Like again, there's a difference between an empirical
Okay,
scenario
so
and
then how do
justified
we know
subjective
without
consequences.
looking at consequences?
What?
How do we know without looking at consequences that
That would be
evil
the
action is
exact
taken?
model of the app. Like, look, here's the thing that I'm trying to tell you about. There's a difference between saying that something is good for some consequential end and saying that this
How would we know without
intention is
consequences that
justified by
something was bad?
what?
How would we know without consequences that something was bad?
All of the intentions for stuff, right? Like, there's a very
Okay.
clear distinction between
Okay.
all of this stuff.
Okay.
The app does not
It's
rely
fine,
on
I'll
all
start
the
practicing.
consequentials.
Ooh, lunch in 10 minutes.
Understand?
Okay, and 1:30 left.
Is it docs time?
Oh, I think more about.
Yeah. What's the timing?
Oh, I just took 12 seconds.
Cool.
Sure, 1:20.
Sure. The order is 3 off cases framing, or cases under view framing, the offense.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
It's 3 off case. Case is underview framing offense.
Okay. Give me a sec, just to reorganize my flows. Cool, I'm good. Oh, also, if I say tags to y'all, it just means like go slower on tags. I'm fine with the speed of your cards and analytics.
Is anyone not ready?
3 off case starting where? Sorry.
Starting underview and then just top down. Anyone not ready? Military assistance is key to prevent Russia villains. Schmidt 331. Russia is maintaining military influence across Africa, alarming Western officials. Niger killed Moscow to help their military is Putin will host a summit between Moscow and African countries this year. Illustrates Russia's opportunistic strategy under Trump. The Pentagon shifted away from fighting terror to new strategy. Africa's a great power competition. U.S. has a life over across Africa. Russia villain ignites Russia in Germany. Give or take 425. Russia's expansion has the U.S. involvement in Africa is a great power competition. Russia's influence has raised for Western power. Russia's strategy is extended to the military interest in foreign relations with countries isolated by Western countries in which the EU spending military support for Russia and targeting U.S. military emphasis fairly small Russian bullshit. Influence extensively Russian reaches the threat to Germany over its implications of expanding Russian markets. Russian will make sanctions more difficult. The impact is nuclear war. International News 14. Thanks to the constantly nuclear situation, deeply worrying the day war. It also allows you to hold continuing massive nuclear arsenals. Russia's rapid escalation tends to demonstrate the whole world's population by saying operations with nuclear arms. Otherwise, risk of escalating. Next off, counter the United States federal government condition military to the public right on ending involvement of militias, mediating the Lake Chad conflict, ensuring adequate systems for access to resources, and increased judicial assistance for which assistance
Clear.
for the counterplan solves the counterplan solves Niger's authoritarianism and Niger's authoritarianism, which means that it's ethical to continue giving aid. ICG 17. Third response is for the development of community militia mediation with Lake Chad and Chad provides the Lake Chad reform of the Chiefs, reform the reintegration policies reform of including the resources and the increase the resources of the judicial system, restrictions linked to the state of emergency redirecting topical through defend next off. Trump's on track to lose 2020 unless he can energize base Allen 4-8. Trump has realized to an alternative universe trying to expand the state's ideas, but later the use of the Trump issue don't have to do with the policy that works in the loss and loss of the Republicans, Thomas overall, but no enemies. There remains far below the breaking point. Trump has started re-election despite not being to agree with them and driving into the full president's squadron to the nation as an incumbent president around promises kept on American force, cutting off aid boost on Trump's popularity and strengthens his 2020 platform, makes it 4-4. Trump brought out things about populism, cutting off his effort to create an educated laws and laws and Trump is starting his message to the American people should be afraid criticism for academics and policy actually helps with advances agenda by being the request to public argument. Trump is creating the battle for the elite establishment for the defender of the people and public ending aid is about giving Trump's popular bills launching some factors substance produce one harm public debate on American United States to understand by allowing him to set the agenda. Cutting aid galvanizes massive fulfills Trump's chief campaign promise. Trump 1222. Trump will lead the state his intention to pull U.S. troops the policy change to allow the war to Trump shift his political rights and ambitions by telling other people's wars and making those basis war based on nutrients. Political science will destroy survival security bases built on the theory of the campaign promise to attract the United States reform was Trump's second term cause irreversible climate change star 419. Of late years it will be impossible to undo climate change to illustrate these works of 2020 the difference between electing from 2016 and 2022 will be irreversibility extreme weather events towards the same
Clear.
forecast have a chance of keeping warming below 1.5 which was strong 45% said declining their rising Trump announcements against existing climate reform against pledge and will the U.S. advance re-election with put off national community decarbonization until the second half of 2020 ensuring other countries do nothing to change the delay becomes economically a little bit difficulty and abrupt transition maybe more than our political system getting bare the world might getting which would do us a catastrophic sea level rise. We have a limited window to rest warming action will be taken now to prevent extinction and massive global suffering. Sim 17. Temperatures over 1 degree Celsius since 1880. The effects of warming being melting ice, ocean levels rising weeks, heat waves and other extreme weather events affect our global GC, which is global emission. Normal level GC target will need to come back more quickly. It's still possible to keep or below GC and to rise of GC and rise higher temperatures for sufficient to trigger uncontrollable climate change. Felony temperature will actually sea will hundreds of millions of persons on Earth. That's used will require rapid transformational action. The case using comparative world paradigm that benefits are one reciprocal burdens. Two testing imposing an unfair burden on the Africans proving something is true, whereas more different than proving it false. You need to win 100% of your argument, but I only have to win defense against one premise. One premise also proves epistemic modesty. Each term has a probability of being true, so you should value it often based on the accepted or reflected fairness. One truth testing new topic education should be as well as bigger to recycle generic arguments which deny the truth of everything. Always other forms of education we only have 2 months to make the topic and can have discussion about other issues outside of red. Negative does not mean to truth testing is not that interpretation. Universal off-print resolution be a question of desirability. Your dictionary 17. Automatic should result in the news proposal be enacted by law. Words of President 1964 truth question determination by resolution or legislation to by law. The definition of negating not prove truth testing or negating the validity of a policy proposition prefer. This definition of negating words in the resolution here just for the pictures of document.
Clear.
Use the words pro and con. You should drop the argument. You should also evaluate new 2 and R framing arguments on theory based on the violation in the shell is obviously incoherent to determine whether I should lose or manifest something stupid before the theory shell is even read. As the time skew is not an argument. We each have the same speaking time. You speak less. You have more time to convince each other. The epsilon obviously still allows for philosophical education, and then it still allows for philosophical education. It just also weighs things like strength and language, which encourages things like topic education, which we have much less time to less time to learn about the framework. The standards maximizing pleasure, pleasure, pain, are intrinsically valuable. People consistently regard pleasure, pain as good reasons for actions by time. Pleasure to be instrumentally valuable for anything. Mode 16. Pleasure intrinsically valuable, pain is intrinsically dissatisfying. Something I know about pleasure, something I know about pain, pleasure, pain, 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 nobody features every reason, pleasure, topic, pleasure, people to send the one, not describe more, only pleasure, pain, are intrinsically valuable. Other guys can send pleasure, often pleasure, requires us to details as instrumentally valuable. Mode 16. Additional pleasure, frequency, anything valuable, pleasure, or pain was a reason to important to have like we have a protein or any further like no acquisition distinction for states that their pleasure for action still entails moral responsibilities, not seen renewal. All the conditions of the teachers who third party authors to have action or repeating casting should also general external that were fully for the private action was not fully discouraged. Policy not believing to right trade-offs. It is the outcome which the other guys the action government plus you utilities always the unjust prioritization of one. Your brother and another. Moral and training strike the distinction where a highest priority must show. Moral should be said as a actual choice using that to the great value and generally recognized values used for short and should be future and science with the increase. Usually is the best way to increase in future. The absent consequences ethics being tolerable and possible to develop between a moral action thinking versus a world versus a world where an immoral action is where an immoral action can only consequential can justify action necessary to reach some moral ends, not 192. Consequential writing expectations of the ability for more reason and more reason by some future uses that's supposed to be trying to be these able for giving foods that you really want to lose that moral reason get my calling about the same already for the moral reason and moral reason in the first place. This is also incoherence impact justified if we only look at the intention of an act, and then that means that what the United States is doing in the name of demo criminal would be justified even if the demo criminal was bad. So we need to look at the consequences, which just proves your criminal to utility. Sanction is also an unethical thing for the United States to do to its citizens, which your framework would say they have an obligation to do, even if you don't take the consequences. The most important thing is that we need to look at consequences to determine the morality of action. The offense. There's all cause internal corruption and GN 16. In order to attack by the computer really subject to shocking or permeated by corruption. U.S. aid is expanding and it's vital to combat terrorism. TDP 24. U.S. Representative forces operation control the against all information commanders taking the best employee for U.S. natural vehicles. The U.S. operates in aerial drones. U.S. also within the large airbase will house drones and just be capable of launching starts removing U.S. aid halts the fight against Boko Haram. Robinson 19. Country around U.S. support natural and harder forces will be less capable and companies to justify U.S. supporting U.S. roles is an important assisting efforts. It also says states have to act for their citizens. Everyone gives the scenarios of this. The binding, you go back to the framework, the binding is utils also binding phenomenal because we can know that other people also experience phenomenal direction, which means that we are bound to a system in which we value everyone's pleasure. Context?
Yeah. Just give me a second. You didn't read the Miller card, right?
Mm-hmm. I can send you a new doc after.
Oh, okay, you can? Okay, that sounds good. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's start with the fill-in dissent. So why will Russia fill in?
Because Russia has been trying to fill in.
Okay, why is Niger inclined to accept any aid?
I mean, it's not like a warrant, it's not like a perceptual warrant. Niger has already started having talks with Russia and talked about Russia giving them military aid, and the reason they're hesitant right now is because the U.S. is there.
Where does the card say that? I want a warrant for why like the United States giving that uniquely means that Russia says that. This card does not say that at all. It just says that they're in talks. I don't know why that means shit for what the card is, for what you're saying right now.
Okay. Under Trump, the Pentagon has shifted away from fighting terror. New strategy in Africa is a great power competition. The U.S. has a life opener across Africa. Moscow cannot compete with American foreign aid, but analysts said Russia is driven by both opportunity and necessity to advance in Africa.
Okay, where does this card say Niger will accept aid?
It talks about how they've already been having conferences.
Yes.
The reason they are not taking Russian aid right now is because our American
People
aid
take
package.
deals
Hold
with
on.
companies
It's because
all
our
the time
American
and
aid
it's
package
not
is better. No, Niger reached out to Russia in case the U.S. pulls aid.
That's not at all what this card
Yes, it is.
Where is it? Hold up.
Niger appealed to Moscow to help their militaries.
Okay, this says Russia will host a summit. Okay, fair enough. The counterplan? Why does the counterplan solve the case?
Sure, because it results in Niger not being authoritarian and our funds
Where does
being
it say
used
that? Does the
correctly.
counterplan say that like the government structure automatically
All of
changes?
the, first of all causes that we read on case, but also all of the arguments made in the case about why our aid is being misused are resolved by things like discouraging.
Wait, I'm sorry, the aid misuse makes them authoritarian, not their government structure? I'm confused.
No, so the solvency is twofold of the counter, or the reason the counterplan solves act is twofold. First, the aid misuse is resolved by Niger following these conditions, but second, these conditions would make Niger non-authoritarian. several things. Like they have to, the conditions require them to like improve the judicial system and increase access to lawyers, which the all cause on case emphasize as like the main cause of like corruption and authoritarianism in Niger. Second, they have to like mediate the Lake Chad conflict, which is what is causing the government crackdown right now. Those are probably the two main things. They also have to ensure equitable access to resources, which obviously necessitates them not taking away freedoms
Okay.
or misusing U.S.
What's
funds.
the status of the counterpoint?
Conditional.
Okay. The case turns. So can you explain the whole cause versus the corruption and stuff?
Sure. So the corruption just talks about how it's not the military it's not the military or military aid that is causing authoritarianism or corruption in Niger, but rather it's the structure of the judiciary.
Okay.
Which corruption did you mark the all cause card at?
The corruption, judiciary permeated by corruption.
Cool.
Yeah, you can start.
Wait, can I wait until she sends a new document?
I mean, it's one card.
Okay. Well, no, there's like a bunch of stuff that she didn't read. I'm just like.
I mean, did you flow?
Were you
I mean, if you
Okay,
you
fine,
can do it.
fair enough. I'll start probably.
I sent out a doc with all the cards. I didn't put it on the card anymore.
Is the doc sent?
Yeah, oh wait, sorry, I haven't pressed it yet. Sorry, I'll continue. Okay, it is now.
Time?
3:26.
Cool.
1:34 left.
will be 2 new ops, and then AC, and then the one that's
Can I just like flow those 2 offs on one sheet? Cool.
Sorry, 2 new offs, AC, in what order?
What?
2 new offs,
2 new ops, AC, one and C order.
AC in what order?
Like framework.
Oh, I'm good.
It's at the bottom.
Okay, just open.
Are you ready?
Yep.
You ready? What?
Yep.
Interpretation, negative beta without reading a counterparameter could be from a counterpart that solves the op and multiple distance violations that you do all these things as standard is strategy because of the fact that the 1 AR is uniquely muted because of the fact that you go to a framework that moots my ability to be able to leverage the offense and counterpart solves 100% of the offense that I cannot leverage or weight case and the fact that there are multiple distance that you will automatically win round scratches an independent voter that was considered on the affirmative. You need only thing I have you able to use or implement arguments in the first is and you've also considered dropping their no orgasm can be in terms of the op. Your only warrant for drop the argument is had no warrant. You just said you should use drop the argument. I need warrant for that. Second off, interpretation, the negator must only have unconditional counterclaims or counterclaims that are dispositional with the condition of that you cannot kick it if I straight turn it. The standard is reciprocity because of the fact that if I make straight turns to the advocacy counterclaim, that means that you can be able to kick it, so I lose offense from that. Any argument that's made on the AC that you make as a turn be unconditional. Second is advocacy skills. It means that you'd just be focusing or just be reading the debate, reading the debate because the fact that you would be defending something that has a unique amount of arguments on it, and it is worth it works towards declining something to become a worse advocate for kicking something. Advocacy skills like independent voters don't think they're having able to lead the round with that something that we gain in the context of the round. Now the F. None of their consequentials of impacts. And here's the difference between our two scenarios. I can say empirical examples of the current state world, and I can say that it ought not occur, but this is consistent with my framework, but I can't say these consequentials of things will occur, and that is bad. So that should filter your explanation of all the ways to the offense. Independently, here's our explanation of how we hijack util. First, extend the random argument. Mutual recognition is the only way to engage your desires because what only can be achieved is only be done with the approval of others. So we hijack util because the only way desires can manifest themselves is with the approval of others. Second is that you can extend the evil argument. Agents that are only based on desire are just particular and feed into evil because there's no universal norm to take what is right and wrong. We can do literally anything which in your framework should be in progression. Third is that practical reason hijacks is the only structure that can explain how we act in desires since the tool to choose between them. Now, the easy framework. You can see the Hegel card which says that we cannot support authoritarianism because of the fact that independently their government structure would just mean that something is antithetical to that because it's not recognized citizens' wills and anything like that. Even if your counterplan does not solve the does not literally change your government structure, and Isafu can still be do authoritarianism to ignore citizens' will. So it's something that we cannot be able to support. Your case trends, you see the gun card uses still seeking a good action idea. So withholding things from occurring, even terms of occur, we embolden them, which is that we still do something is good. Your TDP card, they're still being misused in the context of which means that we're providing that it's bad. They can use counter policies on their own, and also our thoughts on indicates that it's not needed because our logic is based on over-securitization. And when we did give aid, we ended up withholding it, and it did not actually do anything in the context of terror. So we did not need it. Now, now util framework. You've considered every reason why consequentials on fails. You treat these as calculation events, even if they wouldn't reasons why utilitarian is good. I find that it's literally incalculable. So if you use a long, I'm going to extend a couple of warrants. First thing is induction fails. You consider that induction lies in non-induction since we're literally unable to predict the future. That means that we can never attempt to be any sort of consequential focus. The B point that I'm going to go for is that consequences are can only do things to state affairs, which means that agent can never be held responsible, so you can never be able to actually hold somebody culpable for different contexts of things. Independently, this means that util is unusable and incalculable, so we never be able to use it. This sentence. Conditionality fails. We have no monitoring capacity. You guys engagement who have failed them. It's called conditionality failure is widely recognized. First, the donor's ability to aversion signing people wait for fear of punching it for. Second, the donor not possess commitment technology and cannot credibly bind itself to withhold from future recipients and change. Third, the recipient signal performance is unfavorable, so do not cannot know certainty whether the recipient is truly just responding to their praise. And conditionality is a condition kind of on a voting issue. 8 points it's a future of the opportunity you get to be only condition for occurring, which is the I booster as solving the opposite based on circumvention. B point is that strategy means that you split the opportunity to different worlds. One where you said less, one he says no, and you can go for the little same power. Villain. First, it's an effective villain is these can only use Western for justifying autocratic policy because they're perceived as more democratic, which means that there will be literal revolts and things like that. So we use political power, so you cannot do that. Second is that French troops stop villain and your power combination reduces colonialism. Goals 18. French troops in West Africa ready to get the power to be better to all about. They should continue to operate on top of priorities. So China and Russia power combination provide resources given the leverage and less independence. Third is that they're disincentivized because they're sure the problems right now they're occurring with terror. So these are Russia with no likely feel in politics. First is the opposite implemented to the joint chiefs after classified as kept secret. There's no link to the dis of the national military. May 18, the national military is operational version of the national defense strategy. Outline has military relations to also done the IDS for we kept the military strategy classified the chairman intensive policy that path again. Second, this side is literally ridiculous. There's no one thing that unilaterally flips better. So it means that there's no one policy that we do, especially when so our third thing is that obviously the fact that the policy is so contestable means that it is not something that would flip all voters. So it'd be people would hate it. Like,
Alright.
Alright, Brett.
I don't remember how much I had left.
128. Or
It's like, oh wait, hold up.
I thought, is it 128?
I have it as 118.
yeah, no, that's right. I typed it wrong.
Okay.
Just a sec.
The order is.
Can I have just a sec? Cool.
Okay. The order is the basis ad, the condo shell, the no counterplans shell, the conditions counterplan, Russia, framing, under review, offense.
Wait, sorry, could you repeat that again?
Look pretty good.
Base, condo, no counterplan.
I think base.
Base, condo, no counterplans. Conditions, Russia, case. I'll sign those.
Actually, can I have just a sec?
Yeah.
Can we have these in
I'm good now.
Okay. Is anyone not ready?
Copy.
Dia, stop interrupting my rap.
Holy fuck.
I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Alright. Anyone not ready?
I swear that almost hit my head.
Trump will lose 2020. Unsatisfied base supporters refuse to go to the polls. He's lost. So remember, Republicans need to crush his incumbency advantage. Foreign aid cuts galvanize the base by fulfilling Trump's primary campaign promise, America first, and motivate non-voting supporters to go to the polls and independents to vote for Trump with extended base support. Trump is guaranteed to win. A 2020 presidency ensures the U.S. fails to cap emissions, triggering irreversible warming. Warming's catastrophic floods, hurricanes, superstorms, food shortages, and refugee crises have already become set to cross the 2 degrees Celsius threshold soon, which causes runaway warming in the form of positive feedback loops that supercharge the effects of climate change. If this turns out weighs the case 4 more years of Trump ensures the aid is restored. He circumvented the CSPA already. Warming is irreversible and exacerbates every existing crisis. Conflict and corruption will only worsen in the face of increased resource shortages. Even if warming takes a while to cause extinction, we only have a few years left with any chance of combating corruption. Has existed for years and hasn't caused any severe significant impacts. The line by line. First, the meta card is not about military aid. It's about like troop deployment, which is very distinct from what we were doing in terms of giving them finances. There are also laws that require the U.S. to disclose military aid. They can't just make the land secret. This is also a completely new addendum to the 1 AR. This isn't a different mechanism. You should not allow them to specify an entirely new plank of the plan. The 1 AR is unfair and moods the entirety of the 1 and CV. No one thing can flip Trump voters. Is not warranted. But also we say that yes, one thing can flip Trump voters, and it is this one thing. Military aid cuts are key. To galvanizing the base. That's it. Trump 1222. It ensures non-voting base supporters who Trump needs in order to win the election. That Trump is fulfilling his American America First promise, which convinces them that he will continue bypassing policies like this in the future if he is elected. You should also just prefer our evidence to their lack of evidence. There's also just no warrant to this. It's also the Bateson evidence is also very good. It is also very good on this issue. It talks about how the aid cutoff creates chaos and lawlessness, which means that even if this issue isn't, even if base voters don't care enough about this issue, it creates another incentive for Trump to, it creates another way for Trump to argue with the media, which is something the Republicans really love, which means that more Republicans will vote for Trump, which is key to getting him to win the 2020 base, which answers the third argument that you made on the dissent. You should also just refer our evidence. There's no evidence or warrant for behind why this issue isn't big enough to flip the base or to cause increased support Trump. We say that Trump's base is supporting him now. It's not that he has no support. He just needs to win a couple more independents and get some unvoting supporters to vote, which means that even if it can't convince non-supporting people to vote for him, it still can convince non-voters to vote for him. The conditionality. First, just learn to debate efficiency, better case writing, soldier impact. Second, hard to read is good business, right for legitimate fairness reviews. Third, air night, 2 AR persuasion,
Slow.
and 2 NR has to answer theory and substance. Our interpretation is the negative read 1, conditional advocacy. The net benefits are neg flex. Condo is key to allowing the neg to test after multiple perspectives. That outweighs abstract evidence. Even if the neg is purely reactionary. Second, info processing. Condo teaches us to think quickly and deal with overwhelming amounts of info. Most real world simulating information. Those provides for students to code. Most valuable skill. Third is logical policy making. Winning a plan is better than the counterplan doesn't logically firm, so the plan can still be worse than the status quo. That outweighs law since logic is a side concern on fairness and education. Fourth, ideological flexibility. Condo forces the app to defend their position against all angles. But shooting our class allows deep clash on one consistent set of issues. Their interprets adequate student testing ideas against opinions from all sides of political spectrum. The key is critical. It's crucial to determining the best arguments. Also turns class proofs. The model they introduce ensures pure plain. It is not true. The strategy is not unique. Even if we didn't read counterpoints, we would read more dissents. Condo solves by teaching tactical choices with support. Forces one error to recognize strategic interactions. The only way to resolve the inevitably time crunch 1 error. Dispositionality is illogical. The judge could vote for something worse than status quo, and dispo is condo. LD 1 error is too short to read PA to a CP, so the negative will always be able to concede defense to the counterplan. And dispo is bad. Incentivize the 1 error to read worse box against the CP to just stick with negative CP. You should also drop the argument. This was a warrant made in the 1 and C is proportional to the abuse. It is proportional to the abuse. No counterplan shall. Counter-interpretation. After me read one counterplan and then counter-affirmative to the affirmative. The strategy skew is not true. You can make solvency access to the counterplan. We also turn strategy skew because reading counterplan as well as the framework. We also turn strategy skew. We allow the time crunch 1 hour to just answer the framework, which then the counterplan virtually has to disappear, which makes it easier for time crunch. It makes it easier for time crunch 1 hour. Strategy skew is also not an argument. The 2 error has persuasion. Also, you just make solvency deficits. Our counterplan doesn't solve the apple. Just concede the solvency deficits you made to our counterplan, so we don't violate the interpretation. You should extend drop the argument. Or we'll concede the condition fail, which proves that we don't violate the condition counterplans are not a voting issue. They are not a voting issue because you don't lose any solvency deficits. You can still make solvency deficits. The 1 AR proves that the 1 AR proves that the Russia will concede no impact on. There's no offense on the dissent. The framing. They've conceded phenomenal that through phenomenal introspection, that utils not infinitely risk every calculation eventually calculation proves disutility. Delaying action to consider infinite possible solutions on disutility, which means you don't want to take action even if we haven't considered literally every possible scenario. Addiction does not fail. The fact that this design sources the evidence of a metaphysical sound principle of causality. Extinction language is just a reason that utils hard. They've also conceded their framework depends on looking at consequences. Even if there are material situations that are happening in status quo, there's no difference. It would still mean that the plan would get rolled back, which is just a reason that the act that you should have the act fails because as soon as the act passes, they would realize that warming was getting worse than status quo, which is unethical and a reason that the act would just be rolled back, which is terminal defense. The act util also is morally binding. Through phenomenal introspection, we know that definitive pleasure is intrinsically valuable because people can experience the same process of phenomenal introspection as us. We have a normative obligation to use the system of acquisition casual pleasure of others. They've also conceded that the government standard they read about how governments have obligations to their citizens. The governments also have an obligation to prevent things like warming, which is happening right now. This is not an example of something that's like a foreseeable harm. It's happening right now, and the only way to roll it back is not to roll it.
What was the third response that you made to the condo stuff as like Stratsky is not an argument?
It's non-unique. If we didn't read counterplans, we would have read more dissents. Condo solves by making tactical choices, which forces 1 area to recognize strategic interactions.
Yeah, I got it.
That's it.
What was the first response? It was about like solvency deficit.
The first response to what?
The combo.
The what?
The combo shell.
Just that. That reading there were two responses, I don't remember what order they're in, but reading a framework that is reading a framework means you can just answer the framework and there's no net benefit counter plan, which resolves things like 1AR of Strasky, and that you can also just make solvency deficits, which you have done, so we can't solve the entirety of the app. What's order?
It's going to be
Oh, sorry, just a sec. I'm good. Can you tell me the order?
so the order is going to be like drop the bid or drop the arc, and then combo shell.
Okay.
The combo shell?
Wait, combo or condo?
Combo.
All right. Let me just put this on a separate flow.
Hello. Nice to see you, Josh. Hi, Mark.
All right, I'm good.
Ready with?
Yeah.
Okay.
And by drop the arc stuff, you mean just the stuff like this? Like this. Yeah. Okay.
I'll just address that like there's.
Cool.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Framing nation to drop the arc versus drop the debater debate. I literally did not hear warrant in the 1 and C. I know I've read your paradigm. What you specifically said that you will check the threshold for warrant. There's no proportionality warrant, but even if that's not the case, I'll respond to it now. First things that are drop the debater argument was specific in the offense. Said drop the argument is not sufficient because of the fact that it allows one. The drop the argument is not sufficient because it means I have to split the two arguments. I have to win substance and theory in 3 minutes, which is insufficient. Which is that we outweigh in specificity to their argument, which is just about proportionality. The point is that you outweigh some magnitude because the fact that you would just lose every single round because the fact that you just collapse and just win substance like you've done in this round. If you don't do this, proportionality argument. First thing is that if I'm winning the shell completely, then it means that there is no proportionality. You should just drop the beta. Second thing is that there's a difference between proportionality in debate and difference in other different things like that. Obviously, because of like huge time scale things like that, it means I'm preventing people doing arguments. So I'm gonna do that. And framing nation on drop the versus drop the argument. If I have won the combo shell, that means that you drop the entirety of the 1 and C bid on case. There was no case turn in the 1 and C. Did not rely on a specific card from that, and I've indicted every single thing in the 1 and C with the combo shell. So you did one of that. The combo shell. You conceded a couple of framing issues in the combo shell that allows people to do things. First thing is that you conceded competing interpretations. All of your arguments are just weak defense in the context of things. So I win risk of offense framing. That means that they're justified. Your one turn is just a defense response. It says that you can answer the framework, which is not a turn. And I'll win reasons why that's wrong and false anyway. The second thing is that I'm going to extend the abuse rate in the interpretation here. You can extend the interpretation that's with the negative way, or may not read a counter framework, may not read a counterplan that solves the app in multiple D-sets. And the standard was strategy because the fact that the counterplan solves the app means I'm preventing people to leverage the case. The equal framework removes any ability for me to leverage the framework, and the fact that there are multiple data sets means that I'm split between answering the two layers, and then you will always just collapse the layer that I undercover in the two and R. That means that I will always be able to lose the substance debate no matter how many outs that I have. And even if I'm able to make certain types of arguments, there's always a strategic advantage to the 2 and R, which means that you will have more time and more ability to collapse, which means that I'm preventing people to do that. So you can also consider that Strauss is an independent voter. So I always any other arguments like flexibility, other things like that. Now, the line by line, your first argument is that I will be able to make things like solvency deficit and counterplan. This is just weak defense, and my argument in the explanation of these stories is that even if I'm able to make arguments and arguments that I will be sacrificing portions on other portions of you will be able to win on those really easily. This second argument is that you can just answer the framework that makes it easier. First thing is that turn the counterplan solves the app, which is that for able to leverage the affirmative framework, and you'll discover from the fact that any risk of offense on the data means that you're always the case. Second is that unstrategic because you just pigeonhole the offensive layer that which you want me to defend. So I'm preventing from being able to use that. Your last argument is that strategy is not an argument, it's not unique, and you can just concede solvency deficits. Your next argument is that strategy is not unique, so it's not the case. First thing is that I will call you out even if you read those other arguments in the first instance, which is I'll just read one error in all those things. It doesn't mean that this one abusive practice should just be ignored. Second thing is that turn is I should always be able to tailor the specificity of the abuse story, because otherwise we'd just be having generic terms that would be bad because they're not specific enough in the context around, and just reading Pick's bags like
gets us nowhere in the context thing. Your last argument said that you will concede solvency defenses on the counterclaim so that way you don't violate the interpretation. My argument is specific to the 1 and C. That's about that. The fact that you split the 1AR, which is that even if you kick it in the 2NR, you're still just collapsing and causing the same abuse that my abuse story is just rectifying, which is that all these arguments are like still there. Like